Yeah, we are.
Yep, there they are. Oh, I hit him for 22. I got one shotted by the ultimatum. Heck yeah.
3 trash cans going for me.
Hey everyone, Sky here. And if you've ever played Pixel Gun 3D before, you probably have had some similar experiences to that which you saw in the clip, which was actually recorded way back when I was just level 15 in the game. I would say that's actually not an abnormal thing to experience when playing the game. It's actually pretty normal with how fast the game moves today. Thank you so much for tuning into this short little video where we will explore some ways in which I think the Pixel Gun 3D developers could potentially save their game, which is, let's be perfectly real here, is dying and is on its deathbed. I'm not going to go into the statistics, of exactly how much it has declined, but you all know it's not what it used to be. We will build up toward the most powerful ways in which this game can be saved, being number 1, but first we'll start with number 6 here, which is anti-cheat, or in the case of this game, the lack thereof. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about anti-cheat because it really is only a band-aid over the biggest issue that this game has, which I will get to as we progress through this video. But the game does need an actual anti-cheat because, well, let's be honest here, the developers do need to make money. You do need to make money. That is very important, to be able to sustain, to make a living off of this game. And, to continue to make the game better and improve it. To be perfectly honest with you, I really can't get too mad at people who do mod to add gems and currencies to their account because this game is a really big grind to try to get the currencies that you need to keep your weapons upgraded and stuff. However, I think if the developers did some of the things that I'm going to say in this video, people wouldn't even need to mod, and the game would be fun, and more people would play the game, and the developers would make money. So until the game has some kind of much improved built-in detection for anti-cheat, I just propose these very minor adjustments which should be very easy to implement. One of which being, make it to where we can see the profile of any player during a game. And then you can report from the profile. Also could have more options for reporting, such as having an unobtainable weapon at a certain level, having any of the veteran level 65 weapons at any level below level 65. The next thing that I would propose is to make the game less punishing for new players. Right now the game is extremely punishing. Every time that you level up, your weapon that you've been using does less damage. One very simple way to improve this would be to make it to where your weapon efficiency did not deteriorate until you have leveled up 5 times instead of every single time. So for example, if I obtained a weapon when I'm level 15, the weapon would still do its max damage all the way up until I hit level 20, and then I would need to upgrade it because the efficiency would lower. It just gets way too expensive to continually upgrade your weapons in the game, and this is why a lot of people just go to modding to add coins and gems to their account, because as far as I know, this is the only game that I've played that does this to you, that just punishes you instead of rewards you for leveling up. The next thing is to improve the matchmaking in the game. This is something that I think has been supposedly in the works for quite some time, but it's still not great. It's really not that bad until you get to around level 50. Prior to level 50, you will have the occasional modder that's in your game, and you'll still have 3-cat spammers and stuff, but it's not as crazy. Once you hit level 50 and your weapons are under leveled and you have low level modules and stuff, it is just crazy. Like, I do not understand why players who are level 50 to 64 are going against level 65 players. This happened to me, well, once I hit level 50 on my account, all I played against was level 65s, and I just really could not compete unless I spam the deadly icicle or something. That's the only way I can get any kills at all. Honestly, that takes the fun out of the game, and aren't video games supposed to be fun? I thought they were anyway. But this game, no. Once you hit level 50, it is just pure pain. So a lot of players are just going to quit. If they do make it that far, they're just going to quit. To combat this, I would suggest having matchmaking based on level, weapon efficiency, module level, averages, and kill ratio. This may be pretty difficult to implement, but if it could be done, it would, significantly improve the matchmaking in this game. And also, only level 65 should go against level 65s. Level 65 should never go against a level 50 or a level 55 player. Only level 65s against level 65s, because 65 is the cap, and more than likely a player at level 65 is going to have all of their stuff at their maximum efficiency, plus higher level modules. Now this next one might be a little more controversial and involves balancing the weapons in the game. It is crazy that you have around 1,300, I don't remember the exact number, but there are around 1,300 weapons, but only, I would say, 50 of them people use. Which is very, very sad, because here's the very charming thing about the game that would make this game be so much better than it is, and probably one of my favorite games instead of one of my least favorite games that I play. So the game has so much potential because you have really silly weapons like the zombie head and the balloon cannon and the music lover, but they're never going to be viable to compare against things like the Spirit's Overseer or compare the balloon cannon to the ultimatum. Just not going to hold up. So slow weapons such as the laser disc thrower, music lover, and balloon cannon should at least be buffed quite significantly to make up for how slow they are. I mean, I don't know, weapons should just be more viable. You shouldn't just have, just a few handful of weapons be viable in the game. The game would also be further improved by completely just get rid of pulling toward target, dash, and all shield weapons. They just need to be removed. The game is too fast. It's way too fast. And the game used to be way more popular when it was slower and more casual. There have been homing toward target weapons which were removed in the past, and players were compensated a certain amount of gems or whatnot for them. And I think the same thing could be done this time if those weapons were removed. Now, this next one is probably going to get me a lot of hate, but y'all, I'm just going to be completely real with you. I will admit, I am not great at this game. I'm actually downright terrible at this game, I would say. I have pretty high accuracy playing on controller. I have pretty good accuracy rating, but I'm not good. So I would rate myself like a 4 or 5 out of 10. I'm pretty bad. Aim assist would be nice for controller on PC, by the way. However, talking about PC, ever since the introduction of the Steam edition on PC, the game has become more lopsided and unbalanced as ever. It is very difficult for mobile players or PC players on controller to compete with mouse and keyboard players on PC. To combat this, I suggest that 3-cat spamming and rocket jumping be nerfed, so that if you add a 2 to 3 second delay between each weapon switch, you wouldn't have 3-cat spammers getting 70 kills plus in a deathmatch nearly as easily. This should happen between every weapon switch instead of just a few. Now, rather than completely take out 3-cat spam from the game, as this would seem to do, I would suggest having like a separate mode for 3-cat spammers, because there are a lot of people who really do enjoy that, but that it should be its own separate mode instead of just being all integrated into the game for everybody to suffer through. Now, I know a lot of 3-cat spammers would not like this change because they love being in lobbies where they just completely dominate low-level players and players who can't 3-cat spam. However, they will still dominate regardless because they simply have the better aim. I doubt Pixelgun3D would lose any players due to this change, despite a lot of 3-cat spammers initially hating it, because they would acclimate and they have the best aim anyway, so they would still dominate in games. What Pixelgun3D needs to focus on doing is attracting new players and keeping the casual players, because the casual players like me who aren't good at the game, we are the ones that are going to quit if no changes are made. Now, for the ultimate proposal to potentially save this game. This would be to add a casual mode to the game where you would just go only against bots, and you would have the option, if you wanted, to squad up with friends and invite them. Now, this is a change that could very easily be implemented, because when you first start the game is actually very forgiving, and they put you in bot games. The very first match that you play when you start the game is a bot game, and even in Battle Royale I've gotten bot games as my first games. So what exactly would this look like? For starters, all of the things mentioned previously in this video wouldn't really be that necessary to do if the developers just made this change at first, and then other things could be looked at. So this is how this might look. So when you start the game and you go to battle, when you click on the green to battle button, it would then prompt you with two different options, either the casual mode, which I'm talking about here, and the competitive mode, which would consist of, completely online multiplayer as we have now, with, bots occasionally being thrown in, as player fill-ins. So the casual mode would consist of team fight, deathmatch, battle royale, and team strike, because I really feel like bots could be put into team strike. I don't think that escort or flag capture or point capture would be quite ready for bots just yet. The competitive mode would consist of everything exactly how it already is, so the developers wouldn't need to make any changes at all to the competitive mode. It would just be the current mode that we already have, that has team fight, deathmatch, point capture, flag capture, escort, team strike, duels, etc., including raids and mini games. Now the rewards might be a little bit different. So I think you should be rewarded a little bit more heavily for if you do competitive and online multiplayer. So I would say keep the rewards exactly the same as they are for those. But for casual games against bots, the rewards should be a little bit lower. So for example, for first place, instead of 5 keys, you might get 4 keys. And instead of 20 XP, you would get 15 XP. And then after that, each position would be 1 less key and 5 less XP than what you would normally get for competitive. Keeping it real with y'all, and I know I cannot be the only one. When I get home from work after working 9-10 hours a day, I am exhausted, and the last thing I feel like doing is going against some sweaty, rocket jumping, pulling toward target, dashing, 3-cat spamming tryhard. That's the last thing I want to do. So I need some good relaxing bot games. I do not have time to learn mouse and keyboard and become a pro with this game when I work all the time. And plus, I've been playing controller pretty much all of my life, ever since the good old Super Nintendo days in the 90s. So it's difficult for me to hardwire my brain to learn anything different. I know there are a few people that hate the bots and wish the bots weren't in the game. However, I do not think that would be representative of most of the people who would or might play the game, and casual players like myself who just don't want to sweat in the game. I think the addition of bot-only games in casual mode would be so great, because you could have a lot more fun without getting stressed. And you could try out different weapons. I wouldn't need to use the deadly icicle. I could use whatever weapon I wanted to and have fun with it. I could run around the map with the freaking angry pumpkin. Like, you can't do that against real players. You just cannot do it. You're not going to get any kills in level 65 lobbies with people rocket jumping and 3 cats spamming with one-shot weapons. It is just not gonna happen. Bottom line is, games are supposed to be fun. If Pixelgun 3D is going to survive, it's going to have to be fun for more people. In its current state, it is really, truthfully, only fun for the pros. And those are the people who are never going to quit the game, no matter if these changes are implemented or not. There are a lot more ideas I have for improvement for this game, such as with the clan system and pets and modules. But for the sake of this video not being too long, we're not going to get into all that stuff. A few times when I stream this game, I've been told that I should just quit the game because I'm so bad at it. And you know, those people are probably correct, but would Pixelgun 3D survive if all of the casual players like myself just quit the game? That is a question that the developers and even the pros should consider. Do they want us all to quit? I'm not sure if this video will reach the eyes or the ears of any Pixelgun 3D developer, but let's hope that it does. According to the Pixelgun 3D community, I know that the developers do not have the best reputation as far as listening to the community. However, I do have hopes that they have good intentions for the game and they don't want it to die. Regardless, if nothing is ever done to fix this game, there are always great games out there to play and relax and chill on, like Minecraft, and many, many, many other games out there. Sometimes change and sacrifice is necessary, and if Pixelgun 3D wants to survive, that's what they're going to have to do. But at the end of the day, I've said my part and done all I could do to help. I really appreciate you all watching, even if you completely disagree with what I've said. If you do agree or disagree, please leave a comment down below. I will always read comments, whether it's positive or negative. I'm interested to know what y'all think. Stay awesome, everybody. Peace.